So we are 4 lines into page Lamed Dalet. We're distinguishing between the principle of the Oir Ha'atzilus being Nimshach Shaloi B'Hadroga, skipping the various orderly processes. Orderly process means just like Hadroga is like a staircase. You walk up a staircase, and next step, you are completely settled in on that step. And then from this step, you go to the next step. This means Behadroga. You are completely in a completely fully oriented state in each step that you that you come to. Therefore, when I got to step number 3, how did you get to step number 3? From step number 2, exclusively. The fact that I started on the ground is insignificant, because it's step number 2 totally independent of anything else. Step number 2 is a solid place, and it brought me to step number 3. This means Behadroga. Shaloi Behadroga is that. So there are two distinct manners that it goes Shaloi Behadroga. Principally, Shaloi Behadroga means that when you get up onto the top, you are still relating to the beginning, to the original source. This means Shaloi Behadroga. But in that process itself, there are differences. Let us take again, it's kind of a masholim which go down Chassidus. If you literally climb up a pillar, when you climb up and you hold on to the pillar as you come, just a pillar, there's nothing supporting it. Or if you climb up not a regular staircase, but just a step ladder. A step ladder does not really have a platform to stand on. So in the step ladder situation, there is a dual sense. On the one hand, you are actually going from step to step. But you're completely conscious. You're aware that this step ladder is supported by the ground. By the ground. You're not relying on this step. It doesn't have that sense. It is not this step that brought you there. Nevertheless, put it in some time, the experience of getting to the next step is from the previous step. So this is like a muscle to the Ayin of Torah. But in Torah, there is also, pardon me, there's also this Ayin that you are connected directly to the source. It's not based on the immediate previous step. Perhaps I should go a little further and explain what would be the situation, like I said, in a staircase. What would be the situation in terms of seichel, in terms of human experience? It would be that you immediately go to the previous step. This is what's called the worldly experience. In the world, the perception, since that they don't really recognize, have the insight to see that there is a living soul in a person, and that the soul supersedes all experiences. They perceive a human being as the sum total of his experiences. Ah, you got here because you had this experience. Which is how come you think like this. And therefore, you're bound by this experience. Your parents treated you this way, and therefore this is who you are. Your colleagues treated you this way, this is who you are. This means that you do not have the freedom to rise out of this and find a deeper sense of reality in yourself. You are the sum total of your experiences. This is, if you think about it, you understand what this is a horrific concept. Which is devastating, so to speak, to the experience of life itself. Although this would mean that it is directly Seder Hadrod. Although that in truth there is a reaction to people's experience, but as we pointed out, the reaction is because the seichel interprets the experience, and he can interpret it differently. And if you're shown that this is not what it is, or you're shown that you have an insight that supersedes that allows you to rise up and emerge above the water, you can get there. So in this there is these two inyonim. There's Torah and there is mitzvahs. Both Torah and mitzvahs go back to the source. They both express the real source of the godly source. The difference, but there's a difference. In mitzvah, it's a direct. There is absolutely nothing in between. So that when you do a mitzvah, your sense is not what you're doing, but the sense that you are obeying the command. What you're doing is immaterial. In Torah, you are relating to that which you're doing. There's a slapshus. So that what is actually, so to speak, experienced is the like in a step ladder, the immediate step before it. Although, but it is clear that what is bringing you to you is the source, is the real source. Let's look inside now and just I'm going to go 2 lines from the bottom on the previous page, Lamed Gimel. V'im heyois. That all the mehuz bechinas chochma yiloa mamash. That the mehuz. Let me explain what the Rebbe is saying. The mehuz bechinas chochma yiloa mamash. When you say mehuz bechinas chochma yiloa mamash, we mean to say not just the concept, but the force behind it is the reality itself, the force of life that you experience is bechinas chochma yiloa mamash. Melubosh bozeh is melubosh in the halachas. Halachas of a name. They are not distantly based, but they are actually motivated, so to speak, by the chochma yiloa mamash. Like we explained the principle of a wall that good achis, good asik. There is no physical wall. It's chochma yiloa that identifies it like that. And that is what gives it an understanding. But it's the understanding. Ve'ein ha'neshama de malchus de bria, and the oil of malchus de bria, ein mastir al zeh, does not conceal the mehuz chochma yiloa. It does not reinterpret it in its own way. It goes through that, but it's not. But it still lets the full impact of oil of chochma yiloa d'atzilus to come through. Which means what? Like we said, why does it make sense because of chochma yiloa, not because of the chochma the way it is here lamata?
Can you explain why we this or haneshama the malchus the bria eno mastir al zeh?
Because the principle that Torah brings out, the chochma yiloa d'atzilus, this is what Torah is, to represent chochma yiloa d'atzilus. Even though it goes through the various wrongs, but it doesn't become part of it. In simple terms, what we say all the time, halachas make sense, but we do not. They make sense only because we can accept them, and it sounds right. Sounds that it makes sense, but not that the worldly experience compels this halach. No such thing. Mikomo came still harei hahamshocho vehagilu lamato. Nevertheless, okay, even though the oil hanshama is of bria is not mastir, doesn't conceal, doesn't hide the oil chochma yiloa d'atzilus, it remains chochma yiloa d'atzilus. Nevertheless, hamshocho vehagilu lamato, what is brought down here below, he bechinas eir hanshama de bria, is the oil hanshama de bria. What does it mean? It's not mastir, but what do you get here is bechina eir hanshama de bria. It is what allows you to orient to it, is the eir hanshama de bria. Not the way it is in oil atzilus. The message is of oil atzilus, but it is presented in a form of eir hanshama de bria, which means it's presented on a worldly level. Finish the mishum zeh yechayol yistavish v'alocha gashmis conceal. This is why it is able to be mislabish v'alocha gashmis.
Here bechinas means past four. Here it means that really.
What?
Here bechinas means past four, but it's mehuz chochma d'atzilus.
Right. The mehuz is chochma d'atzilus, but haneshama de bria is what is actually mislabish lamata. Let's put it in some kind of a concept. I understand the difference between oil chochma yiloa and oil haneshama de bria. Again, this is not new to us. If we We went through the whole thing of Chochmah coming down, and like we give you the example, that deep down the human soul relates to the entire reality. Where are you? In Brooklyn? In Crown Heights? I'm in this huge, infinite world. Beyond that, I'm in the huge, infinite reality, in the godly reality. This is mitzad hamshoma, mitzad the etzem hamshoma. Then, how do I function? In other words, if I want to how does this truth express itself? It expresses itself in the fact that I can live in Brooklyn and work in Manhattan. Just an example. And how does that accomplish? That I'm in Brooklyn, but every morning I travel to Manhattan, and I make that connection. This whole concept of travel is a worldly concept. There's no travel. You are everywhere. Mitzad Elokus, as we discussed the other day. How does it make it possible for you to orient yourself in the concept of travel? In order to connect from place one to place, I have to travel. I'm not there automatically. Without Chochmah law, you cannot even conceptualize that. It is when the Chochmah law goes through and it goes through the conduit of Bria. And in Bria, there is multiplicity. Multiplicity means that there are many places, not one place. Many places, so therefore there is a concept of connecting one place with the other.
Chochmah law is Atzilus?
Right, Chochmah law is Atzilus. The Chochmah law, this is where Keser Elul itself is the beginning. So this is a pshat that even though it does not conceal it, it gives the full impact, the full message from Chochmah law. Nevertheless, it is giving it in what manner? In a Torah manner. Allah says, do it this way. Not this is how it is. Put tefillin on. Tefillin are not on your arm automatically. Put them on.
But at the same time, it's clear that that's the putting them on. That's not what it's about. It's about the
right. The putting them on is the translation of Oyer Atzilus in an Bria level.
It's Eno Master. The Bria level does not conceal.
And it doesn't conceal, because ultimately what you want is it feels to be on your arm. But how do you get them there? You put them on.
How does that answer his question that neshama, the organ of Bria, is not muscular?
Because I said ultimately, your arm and your head are united to the feet. There's a word from the Alter Rebbe. Alter Rebbe, when they came to arrest the Alter Rebbe, he was in the middle of davening there, the tefillin on. They came into Alter Rebbe's room, and they immediately walked out. Later on, Al-Khaib said that this is what the Gemara says, that Roa Kol Amor Etzem Kishem Hashem Yikra Lecha V'Yorom Imeko. The Gemara says, Yorom Imeko, this is Eilot Tefillin Sheberosh. They saw Tefillin Sheberosh, they had to back off. So, someone asked the Rebbe, but how come they don't skip the light tefillin? So he said, it doesn't say tefillin she'al horosh, it says tefillin shebirosh. The tefillin unite with your head. That's when they have you have that Yorim Imeko.
So that's almost like Bria is not a concealment; it's almost a gilui of what is in your head almost.
It brings it out, but it allows it to come into Gashu. It allows ultimately. The Alter Rebbe also had to put on tefillin.
Even though even without tefillin, it was already berosh.
Well, when you put on tefillin, it united with your head, but you had to put them on.
What would be the result if it was mastir? If it was mastir?
It was mastir.
Yes.
Then there would not be this whole impact, the whole power of it. This would be just a statement, a symbolic statement.
You put them on.
You put them on, and I'm making a statement. You should know, and this is what I believe in. This is who I am. This is what I believe in. That's the way it expresses itself in our world. Someone's related to me that he observed, he's going back, observed the Frierdiker Rebbe. Frierdiker Rebbe, he was chair-bound, wheelchair-bound the last years, and he couldn't even put on tefillin himself. So he was assisted in putting on tefillin. So they assisted him putting on tefillin, and Chana, the older daughter, was involved in this, helping with talis and all that. And then afterwards, he was all set with the talis, with the tefillin, and brought to the place where he wanted to sit, to daven. And then he said, Odos bin ich. This is who I am.
Ask a question. Maybe, hopefully, this is not trying to get too technical, but the expression "or haneshama de malchus de bria" is not mastir. I mean, it's or. What is it? First of all, what is the significance of these? There's a lot of terms here. Or haneshama de malchus.
All I intended to is the word malchus.
And malchus, you said, was like a king gives a decree
malchus
and it stands on its own.
How it relates with the world.
Everything stands on its own.
Malchus is just against the world. At different levels. It says Bria, Tzira, Asiya. But I'm saying I didn't go into this.
Or haneshama? No. Okay, fine. Okay.
If you want to remain alone in this class,
No.
everyone else should quit. Then you should go into this. Yeah. Okay, so this is how it is in Torah. Of a mitzvahs, but in mitzvahs, nimshach ha'gilui bechinas chochmei lo. There, the gilui chochmei lo is nimshach, bli hislapshus. Two lines from the top on Lamed Dalet. Bli hislapshus, without any hislapshus. In other words, it's not even attempting to make sense. Not even attempting to give you a process element. Shemeir b'bchinas oir makif al ho'eseh hamitzvah. The mitzvah is made. It affects the oiseh hamitzvah, the one who's doing the mitzvah, in oir makif form rather than oir pnimi. In other words, This is what we said just now. In Torah it says, how do you put on tefillin? Here's how you put on tefillin. Here's how you prepare the tefillin. You have to write them. And here's how you prepare the parchment. And here is how you put it in. And here's how you put it on the hand. The mitzvah is it's a final complete. This is the Inyan. That's what the mitzvah is. So what happens now? This is the oil makif. In other words, it's directly the significant, the truth of the mitzvah itself that is shoyra on the oil mitzvah. The fact that the tefillin is on your arm because you wrapped it, you put them on. The tefillin on your head because you put them on. That is the Torah element. In mitzvah, there's no that Inyan doesn't. It's finished. Then you have the final product.
The Or Makif versus the Chachmei law, which is the Torah is the Chachmei law is shining. So
Right.
here is the Or Makif.
This is the oil makif.
I mean, the Tefillin Shorosh,
Excuse me?
the Tefillin Shorosh, the mitzvah is it should be on the Rosh. The Tefillin Shel Yad, the mitzvah is the Haniach. Is the Maisa.
What?
By the Tefillin Shel Yad, the mitzvah is the Maisa. Is the putting it on. By the Rosh, it's Shiala Rosh.
No. Yeah, the mitzvah, the tefillin shel yad, the kshatom is not just to put it on. Because if somebody else puts them on, you also have the mitzvah. It has to be tight. Tefillin shel yad have to be lying kshatom. But the mitzvah is that it should be there. That's a mitzvah. You have a mitzvah every second that the tefillin are on you.
Also the Shel Yad?
Also b'shel yad, of course.
The mishum zeh, why? How does that follow? That from
This is why the halacha is able to express itself in gashmius. I explained what is a gashmius. Gashmius means there is not one single reality. Everything is a composite. Without chokhmah, Lord Atzilus, there is no Hashem. If you were standing, project in our world, you're on top of the Empire State Building, and you're giving somebody, you say, go to 110th Street, whatever, go to 34th and whatever, go to 35th Street. She says, where is it? What do you mean, where is it? It's right here. We don't even perceive that these are two separate streets. Because you see it all at the same time. You see 24th and 35th Street exactly in the same glance. This is like a moshel to near you go top down. So therefore, it's not mislabish begashmis.
and when it starts uber mitzvah, this is to contrast that.
Yes. And in mitzvah this is nimshach the gilui gimel chochmei law, but it's bli slapshus. Without slapshus. Like we say, it should be not put it on, and the mitzvah is not in the action. This is halachas of the mitzvahs. The action is into the mitzvah is it should be on it. Somebody else puts it film on the person. He has got the mitzvah tefillah.
This or makif is different from the chokhmah law.
The oil, this is the oil makif of the chokhmah law. Because we learned that in chokhmah there is also the oil makif. The way it comes into the world bria, that is already in Bria, in Malchus. It is a Chochmei law relative to world. This Atzilus is really, Chochmei law is really high than okay. All right, we just went back. Still have to catch up yesterday. Okay, so this is it for this morning. Have a good day, a good Shabbos, and mission. This evening we are going to have a Sikha session. What time is Liebenstein tonight? Anybody knows?
I think it's 7:15.
What?
No, it's next Shabbos is
I'll tell you right
7:15.
now.